8 is a story problem, and so labels are required. And I will tell you that most of the things in this chapter are story problems because most of life is a story problem. Labels matter, okay? If I have a mountain, we have to find the slope, underline find the slope, that's the verb, of a mountain that descends, that means go down, 100 meters for every horizontal distance of 1,000 meters. We're looking for the slope of this line right here. Is that going to be positive or negative? Negative because it's going down. And so I'm finding the slope, which is everybody? Oh, music to my ears. What goes on the top then? What goes on the top?
Y.
Good. Well, which one of these is the Y number?
100.
The one positive or negative?
Positive.
Negative. It has to be negative Y. Lindsay. So even though it says positive 100 here, it has to be negative 100 on your slope because it is going down. It's negative 100 meters, notice. Okay? What's the change in the x direction? Morgan, positive or negative? Yes, x is always positive because you always read from left to right, which means the difference will always be positive. It's 1,000 meters. Wait a minute. In math, anything divided by itself is what number? 1. So if I have meters divided by meters, what happens to my labels? They cancel. They simplify each other. Not cancel, they simplify each other. Okay? And so slope does not have a label unless they're asking you to interpret it. Okay? Now, I'm going to, watch, I'm going to divide by 10, I'm going to divide by 10. What is the slope of this mountain?
Negative 1.
Negative 1.
10.
Negative 1/10. Okay? And so, if they give you points, I'm going to tell you I always sketch that graph because then I can see if it's increasing or decreasing. No worries. Okay? The rest of it is very, very similar. What's going to happen on this page? On the slope page, you are doing the odds plus 12. The story problem is a great one. Okay. On the back side, you are doing all of it. Now, some of you might recognize this page.
Yes, I do.
If you do, it should be easy. If you haven't seen it, you should be able to do it because it's what we practiced yesterday.
Oh, no.
I want to draw your attention to these questions down here. It says find the constant rate of change and interpret its meaning. That means tell me with the labels. If it's increasing or decreasing, you have to include the labels and the title. So your interpretation needs to say something like the book sales are increasing by blank dollars per day. If it doesn't, you have not interpreted it. You have to include all the labels. There are no pronouns here because you're going to write one sentence. So there's no it or they because you can't use a pronoun until you define what it is, and you're only going to write one sentence. If I made you write 10 sentences, then by the second or the third one, you could use a pronoun. You get one, so you have to use all the labels. Here, proportional is still y over x, but you're going to pick 2 points. Notice that they picked some for you. You might as well use those because they're telling you those are specific numbers. If it's proportional, the two ratios are equivalent. So I'm going to put my y value above my x value, my other y value above my x value, and say, are those ratios, are those fractions equivalent? If the answer is yes, then you write they're proportional because the ratios are equivalent. Sentence. If they're not, you're going to write not proportional. This is not a yes or no question. They said, is it proportional? So your response has to be either it's proportional or non-proportional. I want us to get better at answering what the question's asking because I promise they're going to have you fill in text boxes when we take the M step in a few short weeks. Okay? And those types of things are the difference between passing and not passing those written response parts. And we practiced it ad nauseum this year on purpose. Yay, I really kind of feel we're prepared for this one.